It can be said that we've been exploring the nature of divine psychology. And in the way of stories, when we acknowledge that every story is our story, then the exploration is into ourselves. There's a Sufi story, a kind of an allegory. So let's see what it evokes for us in our exploration of divine psychology, whatever that means for us. And it's a story of a certain dervish, which of course means seeker. And this dervish was on a quest to find truth through knowledge. And he heard of a very famous Sufi, so he sought to find his way into this Sufi's presence. Now it was a long and arduous journey, but finally he came to the abode of the Sufi, and when he was face to face with him, he asked, "Please, I am a seeker after truth through knowledge, and I hear that you not only have this truth, but have the means to impart the knowledge that will bring it forth. Can you teach me?" And the Sufi responded, "Yes, but first you must pass a test." "Willingly," said the dervish. And the Sufi said, "Well, it so happens that I need a small carpet to pass on to someone who will enable us to continue our holy work. Bring me a small carpet and we can talk business, so to speak." So the dervish set out to find a weaver, and when he came into the presence of this weaver, he asked for a small carpet, and the carpet weaver, who happened to be a woman, said, "Carpets, carpets, what do you want a carpet for?" And the dervish said, "Well, I need a carpet to give to the Sufi who is going to teach me knowledge so I can learn truth." Carpets, truth, knowledge, what do I know about that? And how can I make a carpet if I don't have any thread? I need thread. Bring me some thread and we'll talk about carpets. So the dervish went off to find someone who had a goat, who could provide the goat thread to goat's wool to pass to the old woman who could make the thread and weave a carpet. But when he came to a man who it was said could provide the goat hair, and he again told this man what he needed the thread for, the wool for the thread, so that he could have a carpet to take to the Sufi who could do it, and so it went on. But this man, of course, said, don't talk to me about those high-flown things. I have no interest in it. How can I give you wool if I don't have a goat? I need a goat. So the dervish went off to find out if he could find someone who had goats. And then he was told about a certain man who had goats. So he went to this man and he told him his story. "I need the goat so I can pass it to them," and so on and so on down the line. And the goat keeper said, "Goat, how can I keep goats when I can't even keep them? I don't even have a pen to keep these goats in. You find someone who could make me a pen, and I'll have the goats, and then we can talk business." So, as it happened, the dervish went around, and he finally came to a carpenter who it was said was good at making pens and fences, so he told his story to the carpenter, and the carpenter said, I have no interest in that philosophical stuff, and don't talk to me about knowledge, and I'd love to make you a fence, but I'm too depressed and lonely. I need a wife. I need someone to love and take care of me. The dervish thought to himself, and so he went off and heard about a certain matchmaker in town, an old crone of a woman. So he went to the matchmaker and told his story. I have this carpenter who needs a wife so they can make a pen, so they can, and so it went on the line. And the matchmaker said, yes, in fact you're a man after my own heart. I too have been seeking knowledge. And so the dervish went into the whole litany about, well, if we have a carpet, and for that we need the thread, and if we have the thread, and so the story, and the old woman said, oh, that's too convoluted to me, that all sounds too hard, I don't even be bothered with that, forget about the knowledge. So she's kind of sent him on his way. And the poor dervish was left pondering the whole situation, when a sudden realization came to him. He realized that all of these people were out for themselves, and in fact when it came right down to it, he too was out for himself, because he prefaced everything with I need this, and then I need that, and so this sort of flummoxed him quite a little bit, and he was then found to be wandering around the streets, kind of muttering, because a certain thought had come to him. So that thought was really the carpet. So he began to wander around the streets of the town, muttering to himself, a carpet is needed to give to the Sufi, to give to a man, to go on with holy work. Now it so happened that when he was walking down this certain street, muttering to himself, a merchant who had a little shop nearby happened to see him, and of course he was very markedly a dervish, having his patchwork cloak and so forth. And the merchant came out and accosted our dervish and said, Venerable dervish, I somewhat know the way of dervishes, and I have a dilemma, and I think you might be able to help me with it. Oh, said the dervish, I know nothing. I've been seeking a carpet and threads and goats but if I can be of any help to you in any way at all, I'll gladly do so. So the merchant explained that he had a daughter who was languishing. She was fading away, and he couldn't pinpoint what it was that was troubling her. Would you help? He begged the dervish. The dervish said, well, whatever I can do, I will do. So the merchant took him into the presence of his daughter, who was laying on her chaise lounge, pale, pallid, but when the maiden caught sight of the dervish, somehow some kind of connection was made, and she brightened up just a little, and she said, well, I don't know how, and I don't know why, but I really have the feeling that you might be able to help me. And so, before she realized it, she was babbling out, I'm in love with a carpenter. And I just long to be with him. And she explained where he lived, and of course the dervish said, well, I happen to know him. And so when this was imparted to the merchant father, the father said, well, I thought she was just babbling when she spoke about that, but let's arrange it. So of course a meeting was arranged between the maiden and the carpenter, who, in his elated state of joy with the wedding to be arranged and so forth, immediately went about the business of making the pen for the goats, and the goats were enclosed, and there was a goat available for the goat man, and the goat man was able to shear the goat, and the goat's fur was able to be given to, story. So the dervish was able to take his little carpet to the Sufi, and the Sufi said, yes, well, now I can give you what it was that you seek, because you had learned to put the carpet before the soap. In the way of stories, we know the symbols, we know the archetypes, we know the sacred numbers. Looking at exploring divine psychology, what does this story evoke for us? Our story we don't need to be pointed about what is the meaning of the carpet and the rest of those other symbolic representations. But we can glean something from it. What is it that we glean from this story, our story? What's its deep meaning for us?
When you take the selfishness out of seeking, and just so happy without you making an effort.
So in divine psychology, recognizing the way it's been for us. Allegory is an allegory, after all. What does this tell us about how divine psychology is used in life, in our interactions with life?
Is it like our patience not to just just to, like, everything will happen at the right time. And not then just quickly hoping that if we do this and we do that, then it's going to happen.
I was looking for a hat this week to complete a costume, a cricket hat. I knew I had it in one of the 500 boxes that I've got. And I went, oh, how, I went, oh, I'll just go through all the boxes. It took me a week. And I gave up a couple of times, and I went, oh, I'll look for that hat again. And then I went, oh look, I'll just go and buy him one, which is more money than he paid. Oh, the costume is a bugger. And then I said, oh, I haven't looked in that box. No, it couldn't be in that box. What is that? And I found it. Eventually, when I totally let go of finding it, you know, I was going to just go and spend all the money he gave me and go and buy him a moustache and a hat. But I enjoyed, I had the best week looking for the hat. Because I found everything else I needed along the way, and all these, oh, that's where that, and it was, and now I know where everything is in all my boxes. And I knew it was a trick. I went, this hat's somewhere, and it wants me to dig deep. So now, and I had planned to buy all these labels and label all my costumes in all the shed. And I went, well, I didn't do that. I didn't go methodically through and do that. But now I know where everything is anyway without the label. So, and yeah, I chopped up a wig to make sideburns, just the improvising along the way, you know, and I forgot stressing about the hat. And I was feeling hopeless and like I'd ripped him off because he didn't get a complete costume. But in the end, but I let go of the actual worrying about whether I'd find it or not, and started to enjoy the process of all the other things that were. Then I had dressed this up along the way, and you know, and then the phone rings, and now people want all these costumes that I've actually found along the way. So I went, oh yeah, I can hide that because I know where that sword is now. So. I don't know if this is even relevant to say, but that was my experience of like just dropping the plan and the other magical thing. And in the end I might not have found the hat and he might have ended up annoyed with me, but I still had a lot of fun finding the others.